It's reassuring to know that it's been built several times before, and then this particular contractor, they personally have built this several times before, so that's only going to make it more smooth as they put this facility here in our city.
Welcome to Herrimanology.
The official podcast to keep up with Herriman City.
We'll take you inside the city, explore the latest news and updates, show you how your government operates, and discuss the issues that affect us all. Now, here are your hosts talking all things Herriman on Herrimanology.
All right, welcome to Herrimanology. It is Thursday, August 14th, and I was coming back from lunch a couple hours ago, and for the first time in what felt like a couple of months, I felt raindrops. That was nice.
Yeah, there was rain when I was coming in too. So
it's been a long, hot, dry summer. So that was nice. I'm John LaFault, Communications Manager for Herriman City, joined today for the first time by City Councilmember Terrah Anderson. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, thanks. Happy to be here.
You represent District 4, and we talked about your appointment process in previous podcast episodes. You may or may not have known about that, but we talked about you. But yeah, now you're on the city council, and what's that been like for the last several months that you've been here?
Well, I have to say I'm a big fan of the podcast. I've listened to it from the beginning, so
Nice.
I did hear about it. It's a great way to get information and hear from people at the city. So that's great. It's been a whirlwind. It wasn't really something I was expecting to do, but really interested in doing, and I've just loved learning about it, learning more about our city, learning more about what elected officials do, and then being able to contribute as well.
Yeah, so for those of you who may have forgotten, or if you're new, we had City Council member Steve Shields. He had another job opportunity in another state, so he had to resign, and there's the appointment process, and you applied and were interviewed in a public meeting. I'm sure that was awesome on your end by the city council, and they appointed you to fill out the rest of this calendar year. And then there's the 2-year special term after that, to kind of line up with the previous term. And I believe now, unopposed, you have declared candidate. We don't usually talk election on the podcast, but it seems like unless something weird happens, you'll be the city councilman for at least the next 2.5 years. So
yeah, I'm grateful for anyone who wants to run and serve their city, but the way it turned out, I'm just happy to be able to continue on and continue with the momentum that I'm building up too.
Yeah. Last night it was a long city council meeting, a long agenda, a very important one. We had several different meetings involved, but because of the length of the agenda, we won't go through everything, but a couple of pretty important things. One was the property tax truth and taxation hearing. We've talked about that here several times, but that happened last night. Only one public comment there during the public hearing, but something we've tried to let people know about. And the proposed increases that we've been talking about were approved by the city council. What was the thought process behind that? What were kind of your thoughts? And
first of all, I was happy to see people who came and attended, and I'm happy to hear from the one resident who did speak up. I mean, I think it's great to be able to be involved and participate in local government. We welcome people who want to come to the meetings or watch them on our YouTube channel. So I appreciate all of that. I also really appreciate the discussion that the city council had about how we don't take these decisions lightly. It may sound like a small amount. It may not for some families too. And then there are multiple things, and the economy is a little different now. So it's something to definitely take into consideration. But overall, looking out and planning for long term, adjusting for inflation, and then looking at the data for the needs to continue the level of service that we have. This is just something that needed to be done. But I appreciate that we could talk through it and hear from that citizen, that resident who did come, and being able to agree this is the best move for the city at this point.
Yeah. So again, to review, there are the 3 different taxing entities that Herriman City can control. The Herriman City Fire Service Area, which funds fire and emergency medical services. There's the Herriman City Safety Enforcement Area, which funds law enforcement services. And then there's the general city property tax. That general city one didn't change. That property tax is the same. It's low comparative to most of the other entities. The other two were the ones that are increased. So 1.7% for the HCFSA for fire and emergency medical. So that for an average value house is about $8 to $9 per year. And the HCSEA, as we call it, HCC, which is the law enforcement side, was about 5.3%, which is about $25 per year for an average value house. Your individual houses might be different, but it's the reality is, like you said, the economy changes and costs are what they are, and the city has an option to, in order to keep funding at the same level of service, you can cut from other areas to make up for that spending gap, if you will, because the dollar goes less far every year as inflation goes up, or you can raise tax rates. And the city council so far has chosen to maintain the level of service that residents are used to and that the city's used to. And I'll note too, very mindful of trimming the budget where possible.
Yeah, I wanted to add that
Yes.
too. Like I really appreciate it. I took the time to say, like, these are the things that we've looked at internally about where we can cut, which won't affect the level of service, to be able to do what needs to be done first before going back and asking residents to give more.
And I'll say, as a manager of a department in the city, we're being asked to go through all of our budgets, or we have over the last couple of years. Like, okay, what can you cut? Okay, can you cut more? Can you cut more? Can you still maintain a quality of service or something that's reasonable? Can you cut more? We're doing a lot to kind of trim our internal costs before, like you mentioned, going back out and asking for more. And at some point you do. At some point
do.
You can't run too lean. You still have to function as a city. So anyway, didn't want to beat that to death, but kind of wanted to beat that to death and put a bow on it now that that's finalized. So
Yeah.
I guess two other happier things than property tax. One was the Juniper Canyon West Trailhead. So that was approved, not to be built yet, but just kind of the idea. The raw budget was approved, and a nice thing the Friends of Herriman are doing with that too.
Yeah. This is right in my backyard. This is an area that I walk a couple times a week. I was out there yesterday morning before the city council meeting yesterday night. And, it's a beautiful area. I'm excited to see the trailhead, the improvements will be there. Kudos to Friends of Herriman for all they've done to make the bike jump area possible. It's just a great resource for our city, a really great amenity, and something that gets used. It gets used pretty often, so it's neat to make it even more accessible to more people in our city as well.
Yeah, so for those unfamiliar with the Juniper Canyon, it's kind of on the south-ish end of town. We have such a weird shaped city. It's hard to say what's north, south. It's kind of, if Herriman's almost kind of boot shaped, it's almost kind of on the where the city boundary kind of bends. Anyway, we've done some trail work in several phases over the last several years. We have a trailhead over on the east side, and now this will be adding a trailhead on the west-ish side of that. And then the bike park that you mentioned, that Friends of Herriman, our partner nonprofit, is fully funding and managing that construction. That'll be near the trailhead. But yeah, a big deal, a very heavily used area, and hopefully will continue to be used and loved by people. So that's about $2.3 million budget for the trailhead. Then the Friends of Herriman will be taking care of the cost on that end of things. They've done some great fundraising work, and as you said, both those amenities are going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky to have such amazing views in our city, and then this canyon and a trail network, and so great to continue to fill it out.
Yeah. And one more thing, this one will be constructed soon, and I'll go back and explain what I mean by that, but Fire Station 103, we've mentioned a couple of times, so the existing Station 103 on Main Street and Pioneer Street has been around for a long time. It's a building that was never really meant to be used quite like it is today. And it's had some add-ons over the years, and it's been in rough condition for the last little while. Firefighters been looking forward to a rebuild, and finally the construction contract was approved last night. We can start moving forward on that.
Yeah, that will be a great benefit to our city as well.
So that will be on 129th South and Rosecrest, the new fire station. So the old fire station, to be determined what happens to that building. That is city owned. We don't know yet. We have some kind of loose ideas, but anyway, that there's a contractor in place now for the new fire station. The city council last night voted to award the construction contract, as we call it, and hopefully soon start to move forward. We're expecting about a 14 to 16 month build time, if I remember off the top of my head. So that'll be nice.
Yeah.
New fire station. The firefighters, I'm sure, are very excited for that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be great. It'll be fun to watch it come up.
So both of those projects highlight kind of an interesting thing that we do. Projects are always slower than we want them to be. They're always expensive too. But so last night, the fire station was a construction contract approval, whereas Juniper Canyon was more of a concept project and general approval, but we haven't gone to get a contractor to build that one yet. So at some point there will be that project will come, speaking of Juniper Canyon, will come back to the city council for a construction contract. There are a lot of phases to this. So we have where we feel like we have a project, we kind of dream about it and come up with a budget that we think is reasonable, and then go through the design process, the architecture and things like that. And then bring it to the city council with a proposed budget. You give a thumbs up, which is what happened with Juniper Canyon last night. Then once that happens, we'll send it out to contractor bid, which means we post it to a given website and usually a statewide website, and contractors will comb through that and see what projects are coming up, and they'll send a price quote, basically a bid, and we'll collect those and review them and pick a contractor and bring that back to the city council again for the construction contract, which you vote on again. And that's what happened last night with the fire station. Have a contractor on board. Now it's approved and they can start to move forward. So
Lots of steps in that process, huh?
And something last night that the operations director talked about, there's a scoring system with these contractors, and you take into account their capabilities, the price, of course, and this project is kind of unique too because it's been built several times before, so that has kind of made for some cost savings on our end.
Yeah, it's reassuring to know that it's been built several times before, and then this particular contractor, they personally have built this this several times before. So, that's only going to make it more smooth as they come and put this facility here in our city.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. UFA is excited. We're excited. Finally, nice to see that moving. So I think that's all we're going to hit today. There was a lot more in the city council meeting. If we went through every little thing, we'd be here for half an hour, and nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
If you do want that, go to Herriman.gov. There's a fully written recap for you.
That's great. Yeah.
Councilmember Anderson, thanks for joining today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening and watching. Of course, you can always email us communications@herriman.gov with a question, and we'll we'll address it, answer it, hopefully, in a future episode. And with that, we will catch you next time.